How's it going, Can Crushers? Welcome to another episode of the Crushing Cans podcast weigh-ins update show. Today, we're talking about UFC 252. This is Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic 3 for the trilogy. We're going to jump into the main card, starting with the champ, Stipe Miocic, weighing in at 233, and Daniel Cormier weighing in at 236 for the heavyweight title. Daniel Cormier looked pretty good. Stipe looked like he was ripped and in pretty good shape. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, not much really to say. Both guys looked in shape and healthy, and I mean, they look like they're ready to bang. This time, DC says he is healthy, weighed in at 236. Last fight, DC said he wasn't healthy, wasn't really able to train very much, weighed in at 236 and a half. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, while he did weigh in about the same weight, he did look a little bit more slim to me. So it's possible that it could be muscle that he put on as well. But, we'll find out when the fight happens there. That's going to happen tomorrow. Both guys looked ready to bang. Will DC be able to end his career on a high note? Will he be able to successfully end something that he started on a high? He didn't get to do that with wrestling. We'll see what happens here.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting storyline that plays out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that one overall. But then we'll be able to move on to the next fight there. That one is Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Both guys weighed in at 136 pounds. Sean O'Malley looked a little bit tired.
He looked. I think Sean looked drained on that scale. Looked like he might have had a rough weight cut. 135 might be getting harder for him to make as he gets a little bit older. We saw it with another fighter kind of on a similar trajectory as him, where 145 ended up getting a little bit too much to make. He looked really drained and looked just terrible going down to 145, and then went up to 155 and fought a couple times at 170. But Marlon Vera, man, he looked good, and he looked ready to bang. He looked like he could go 5 rounds if this was a main event.
Yeah.
So for me, that just reinforces my decision to pick Marlon Vera right there.
There you go. Yeah, I got Sean O'Malley still. I have him with that knockout. He's not looking to go the distance. We know that. But he does train serious. He does do everything the right way. We'll see what happens. His whole image, his whole hype train really depends on this one here. This is his big test before he really breaks into that top guys there.
Yeah.
So, this is his big test. We'll see. So then we move on to the next one. The next one here, that's Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Jairzinho Rozenstruik weighed in at 254, and Junior Dos Santos weighed in at 238.5. What'd you think about these guys?
JDS looking lean and mean and ready to go. Rozenstruik kind of looks like he still has some there to cut if he really wanted to. Think it could probably benefit him if he wanted to get down a little bit slimmer. We see it with a couple of the top guys fighting on the same card, where both of these guys are slimming down to fight a longer, better fight. Both JDS and Rozenstruik, they're going to have the knockout power. JDS with his boxing, Rozenstruik with his kickboxing. But I think JDS, he even actually mentioned that he was trying to be slimmer for this fight. He wanted to have the speed advantage, and
he definitely looked slimmer. He looked ripped, man.
Yeah, it kind of makes me might want to sway my pick a little bit, but I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm sticking with Rozenstruik for this one. I think he gets it done. JDS coming off back-to-back knockouts. It's not going to take much to tap him and have him go down again.
No,
I think, so.
and with the amount of knockouts that Rozenstruik's had, like he's going to be able to do some damage if he puts his hands on JDS. And JDS,
we got to see though.
Suffered many knockouts though.
You remember the I think it was the Ngannou fight, right?
Yeah. Well, which one? Ngannou versus which one?
Rozenstruik.
Yeah.
The fight didn't last very long, but it was really weird because Ngannou just came forward and Rozenstruik just went backwards and kind of lifted his chin up, and Ngannou barely clipped him and he just went out. But
yeah, I mean that one was a weird fight overall. It was a short fight too. We didn't really get to see much from that fight, to be honest.
No, but we gotta say,
but
JDS has that power. He can put him out too.
Yeah, I mean, but we did see Rozenstruik on bottom of Overeem for about 14 and a half minutes and come back and battle to be able to knock out Overeem and pretty much rip his lip completely off there.
Yeah, man, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. That's going to be an exciting fight. Both guys made weight. They're ready to go. Then we move on to the next fight here. This one was Herbert Burns versus Daniel Pineda. What did you think about this weigh-in here?
This one was a little interesting because Herbert Burns weighed in 149.5. And I mean, he looked good, to be honest, but he was big and did not bother to try to cut the rest of that weight off at all. Pineda made weight 146, so ready to go. So Burns is going to be sacrificing 20% of his purse and is ineligible for post-fight night bonuses.
Yeah, can't get any post-fight bonuses, which is a big problem for a guy like him who's really a finisher. You know, he's a guy that could easily put himself in position to win a $50,000 bonus, and he just took himself out of that equation. So that's unfortunate for him.
Sucks.
But either way, I still think that he's going to win. So I still think he'll get his show and his win money minus the 20% that will end up going over to Pineda. But Pineda could still potentially win awards himself, though.
Absolutely.
So even
Pineda
if
made weight.
Yeah, if it's a fight of the night, you know, Pineda could probably get the award for fight of the night. I don't know what they do in the event that one guy doesn't make weight and it turns out to be a fight of the night performance. I don't know, but
probably just pay the other guy, not Burns.
Yeah. I mean,
he'll still get the fight of the night title, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get that on the title minus the award, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you know, either way, Daniel Pineda's making a little bit more money. I think it's good for him overall because I think Burns is going to finish him. Or actually, I don't know if I said he's going to finish him, but
I'm pretty sure you have Burns winning a decision.
A decision.
I've got Burns with the sub.
I'm not so sure about that now after this weigh-in here. So, but then we move on to the next one. John Dodson versus Marab Valesvili. What did you think about this one here?
This one has got all the potentials for fight of the night, man.
Yeah.
Dodson, he looked lean and healthy. He wasn't like shredded or anything, but he looked really, really healthy. Marab, he was shredded and jacked, you know, like Marab usually is. Both guys, but neither one of them looked like they had any trouble making weight. So those guys are ready to go, and this one is very, very much a fight of the night candidate.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this fight. Both of these guys, you know, they're both really good fighters. Obviously, John Dodson's kind of like that old wave, still trying to kind of like hold on a little bit. Where Marab, while he's very like one stylistic, or like he very much uses one style.
He's a wrestler.
Part of that new wave of those guys that are coming in. You know, he's got a couple losses in the UFC. One was a split decision, and one was that loss to Ricky Simone, where he won the fight for 15 minutes, and you know, got choked out at the bell. So Marab's a threat. You know, he's a title contender in my mind right now, and this is kind of one of those wins or fights where if Dodson wins, he can put himself right back in the mix there.
Yeah, so Marab right there, I think he's at 15. He's fighting Dodson, who's 12. But Marab's, you know, he's looking for that clash with Sean O'Malley. Which, I mean, if you look at the current standings and the way the rankings are, Sean O'Malley's at 14, and he's fighting unranked Marlon Vera. So, I mean,
and you know, the fight that I've been calling for is actually a fight that would
everybody wants a grappler
match up in there well with that. You know, I've been calling for the Ricky Simone fight. You know, I've been saying Ricky Simone versus Sean O'Malley, but Marab versus Sean O'Malley would be a pretty good one as well.
Yeah, and I think that Simone versus O'Malley would probably sell better in terms of, like, you know, trying to promote the fight. But Marab, you know, just the way the rankings and the time, they're both fighting on the same card, so there's no unless somebody gets seriously hurt. I mean, they're right there for a clash, man. You could have Marab moving up into the top.
Well, and then you know, Ricky's got a fight coming up soon too. So
he does.
All those guys, versus Brian Kelleher. So all of those guys, and you got to consider Brian Kelleher in that mix too. There, you know, all those four guys right there. There's like a group of 5 or 6 guys right there that are really trying to break into the top 10. That are all killers right there.
And if you're Sean O'Malley, you don't want to face any of those. You don't want to face Marab, Ricky, or Kelleher because they're going to put him on his back,
No,
guaranteed.
he doesn't want to face any of those ones. Those are all going to be really tough challenges there. But, he can't look past who he's got right now.
Nope. And if you watched our Pick'em show, I actually picked Vera to win this fight. I just don't know that Sean is ready at this level the way he's been being pushed.
Yeah, we'll see. It's definitely going to be a tougher test for him. But we also thought that the Eddie Wineland fight was going to be a tough test for him. The difference is Eddie Wineland was kind of on a downfall when he fought Sean O'Malley, whereas Marlon Vera's only lost one fight in his, last 6?
Yeah, something like that, and he's never been finished. Eddie Wineland had been finished multiple times. He's an older vet, and he's been knocked out before. He's never been put to sleep the way Sean did it. But, he's been up and down throughout his career. But, yeah, Marlon Vera, he's coming off that fight of the night to Song Yadong, and like I said in the Pick'em show, I think Song Yadong is actually a better prospect at 22 years old right now. The dude's a beast than Sean O'Malley. So
yeah, I mean, that guy definitely is a beast. He's pretty exciting. The only thing that he doesn't really have going for him right now is the fact that he doesn't have a huge name like Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, he's not getting that same push. He doesn't have that hype that built around him. But Sean knows how to market himself as well. I mean, if you watch some of his videos, people ask him, "Oh, why are you dyeing your hair?" And I think one of his responses was he said, "Look, when you get into the UFC, you have to do something to separate yourself, to stand out. Sure, you can go in there, you can get finishes and stuff, but you still need to do something else to try to draw the attention." And he's like, "So that's really why I dyed my hair, is
yeah, well, I saw that, and then he also said that he saw the fans liked it. So he went with it again. And he's right. You have to be able to market yourself. You've got to figure that out. And he's done it. He's figured it out. He's paying attention to what the fans want, how they respond to the things that he does, the things that they're saying on social media, the things that they like and the things that they don't dislike. He's following the rule of 80-20, get rid of the stuff that they don't like and do the stuff that so you can focus on the stuff that they do like. And he's narrowing it in and dialing it in. And he's really being able to make himself a popular person for his fans and for the sport right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be a crossover athlete soon here as soon as fans go. Conor McGregor has all the fans from all over the place, not just MMA. And Sean O'Malley's breaking into that category right now.
Yeah.
So
but
this win is super important.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good fight. But you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, so the next one here is the Junior Dos Santos versus
Nope.
Oh fuck, why did
Jim Miller.
Why did we get up there on that? Is that your computer that keeps making that noise?
I think so. I think it's bumping something. I don't know why.
Yeah, I keep hearing that. Okay, yeah, Jim Miller. All right, so now, yeah. So now we move on. Now we're moving on to the prelim cards. This is the main fight on the prelim card right now. This one's Jim Miller versus Vince. This one's Jim Miller versus Vince Pichel at 55 pounds. Both fighters made weight at 156 pounds even. They're all given a pound allowance, and they use that allowance to make weight. Fight's on, ready to go. You have anything else you want to say about that one?
No, man. Both guys came in, looked good. Jim's a professional. He made his weight. Vince came in. He was professional, made his weight. So we're going to find out, where Jim Miller still stands in this. I mean, he's first round submission victory in his last fight. And so,
yeah,
I think that was his last fight. Yeah.
Yep, it was. Yeah, so we'll find out what goes on here.
It's going to be interesting.
Old dog. But it's good because this is a good fight for both of them. This is kind of the fight that both of these guys need right now. Vince Pichel and Jim Miller right now. This is the perfect fight for both guys. So the winner of this is, really looking – it's good for them if either of them win right now.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the next fight. This one was the Felice Herrig fight versus Verna Jandiroba. Felice Herrig weighed in at 116 pounds, and Verna weighed in at 115.5 pounds. I thought that they both looked pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they both look pretty good on the scale. If I had to pick someone and say who looked a little bit better, I think Felice maybe looked a little bit more healthy, but they both overall look pretty healthy on that scale.
Yeah, I think they both look pretty healthy. But then we move on to the next one. This was the TJ Brown fight versus Danny Chavez. TJ Brown weighed in at 146.5 pounds, and Danny Chavez made weight at 146 pounds. TJ Brown had the opportunity to weigh in again, but I don't know what happened there. I was sitting there waiting and watching the scale, waiting for him to come in and try to reweigh in because he was only half a pound off, and he had some time.
Yeah, it was just really weird, man. Like he came in, he weighed in, and I think he was 146 3/4 is what they were saying. So they brought out the cover and let him take his underwear off and reweigh in, and he ended up hitting 146.5. He just seemed super surprised. I don't know, maybe his scale was off in his hotel or something, because typically they'll weigh themselves before they go out and check. And he seemed super confident that he was going to make weight, but then he just didn't. Then he was given that time to cut that half pound, and he just didn't do it. I'm not sure what happened there, but they said he wasn't reweighing in. So he'll forfeit 20% of his bonus as well, and of his fight purse, and he's also ineligible for bonuses.
Yeah. So Danny Chavez gets a little bit of a bonus right there too, from Brown missing weight. That's the benefit of making weight when your opponent loses, or when your opponent loses, but when your opponent misses weight. It is concerning to me that Brown chose not to go after that half pound there.
A little bit,
because if it was something like the other one earlier with Herbert Burns there, where Herbert Burns was about 3.5 pounds overweight, I can understand potentially not chasing after it. But with that half pound, you have to be either mentally weak or your body's got to be shutting down and you decide not to do it. But, if the commission wasn't telling him the fight was off, then, I don't know if they were telling him that he can't try to make that last half pound there.
Well, I know they gave him the opportunity to do it.
Which is I thought they did. So.
They did give him the opportunity. I just don't know why he didn't, because he didn't look bad on the scale at all. He looked healthy. He looked confident and ready to go. And then as soon as they read the weight, everything changed.
Yeah, it could have been just an act of emotion where he's like, screw this. I'm done. I'm not going to cut the weight. And maybe later on, he ate and drank, and then later on was like, man, I should have made the weight. It could have been anything. It could have been that he was just, too far gone and didn't think he can get any further down. Could have been a lot of things. Who knows? But we'll see how he's looking tomorrow when they step out there to fight. Makes me a little bit nervous about that one though, with him missing weight like that.
Insane.
Yeah. So then we move on to the next one. That one was the Lavina Souza fight versus Ashley Yoder. That one was at 115 pounds. They both weighed in at 115.5 pounds. I'm excited about that fight. What'd you think?
Yeah, there's a little bit of concern with Ashley Yoder. She's missed weight before, so it was kind of good to see her getting on the scale and actually making weight.
She kind of was in a point where she had to, or you're likely to get forced to go up a weight class,
Yeah.
Dana White gives you a couple of chances sometimes. Sometimes you don't get very many chances, and if you've had problems, they move you up.
Yeah. So, but with her, I'm expecting kind of a brawl. I don't know if it's going to be a very fun fight, but we'll find out eventually. Both girls are professionals, and they both made weight. So,
yeah. Well, then we move on to the next one. This one is on the early prelims, which is still on the same channel, ESPN Plus, and ESPN. So you don't have to go anywhere to catch him. But this first one that we're going to talk about is Chris Dawkis versus Parker Porter. I was a little bit surprised, and I think you were a little bit surprised as well with Chris Dawkis. Chris Dawkis weighed in at 241, and Parker Porter weighed in at 264.5.
Yeah, Parker Porter clearly thicker, and it's crazy that the Porter's a guy that fought John Jones down 205, coming in that big. It's just insane.
Well, you had compared him to Jake Collier.
Yeah, Collier. That was the other guy we were talking about. He did the same, but he went from middleweight all the way up. Crazy. But Dawkis looked pretty good. He looks like he's slimmed a little bit. which he might need for this fight. I mean, he's the taller fighter, so see if he can use that range. He has a really, really nice jab that he likes to poke out there, and he likes to kind of just like with his feet, he likes to dance in and out and throw that jab and try to set up that power shot. But see, I mean, really, I think that Porter's got an overhand right. It's about it. So
well,
we're going to find out, man.
We're going to find out. That's for sure. It's going to be fun to watch and see what happens there. But then we move on to the first fight of the night. This is the last-minute replacement fight. This is Kamaka III versus Tony Kelly at 145 pounds. Both guys weighed in at 145.5 pounds. So they're both on weight. They're good to go, ready to start the night off. I'm super excited about that one because I've been excited about these short notice fights more than anything else. It seems that they're just fighting with more natural skill and instinct as opposed to when there's a game plan and sometimes these people are trying to read each other and make each other bite on certain things. It slows the pace down. With a lot of these last minute fights, these guys are just getting after it with the skills that they have and not worrying about really game plan.
Yeah, I like it. I also like, both these guys come in here and, the fight was announced on just like a day or two ago, a couple days ago, and both guys come in here and they make weight,
Yeah.
So
ready to make weight. Good job for guys like Kamaka making smart decisions of moving from Hawaii to Las Vegas to try to take advantage of the opportunity of being a last-minute replacement.
And staying ready. Staying ready. We talked about that before.
That's some dedication. We've been saying it since this coronavirus thing started. Stay ready. There's going to be replacements. There's going to be a lot of problems. And as you guys have seen, guys are being pulled off the card all the time for all sorts of things. It could be a weight thing because short notice fights. Sometimes it's hard for these guys to make weight. It could be an illness. We've seen a few people who've tested positive for the coronavirus. We hope everyone's doing well. It could be the fact that they just can't get out of their country and they need to find a last-minute replacement. So stay ready. Be ready to fight. Many things could happen right now that could put you in the opportunity for a lifetime. On that note, keep crushing those cans, can crushers.